Hi, I'm Angie and this is DIY Homesteading with Missouri River Regional Library. Today we are going to turn this into this. That's right, we're making pickles. So we have a garden and we have a overabundance of cucumbers. Now, there's only so many cucumbers you can eat, right? Maybe. If you like cucumbers, that could be wrong. I, on the other hand, do not like cucumbers at all. I think they're one of the probably top 5 worst foods I've ever eaten. But I adore pickles, and I especially love these two kinds of pickles that we're gonna make today. So we're gonna make dill pickles in the refrigerator, and we're going to make bread and butter pickles, I can say it, in the microwave. Now, there's a third kind of pickle. You're probably saying, well, why aren't we making sweet pickles? I don't like those either. So we're not gonna make things I don't want to eat. Even though some members of my family may like sweet pickles, I don't know. We just don't eat them. We grew up on dill pickles and bread and butter pickles, and this is what I'm going to teach you to make today. So if you have a wealth of cucumbers, this is the recipe for you. If you need a cucumber, you might contact me. I might have some left over, and you could probably have some. So let's get started making pickles. We're gonna do 2 different kinds of pickles today. The first one we're gonna do is bread and butter pickles in the microwave. Yep, you heard me right. We're gonna do pickles in the microwave. Why are we gonna do that? Because it's easy, it's fast, you can eat them right away, and they work in small batches. So what I'm gonna show you today is small batch pickles that you can enjoy fairly quickly. So what do you need for microwave pickles? You need cucumbers. So I've sliced up cucumber. You want them in the rounds, and probably as evenly sliced as you can make them. Yeah, you can see mine are not completely evenly sliced, but I did try. And then slice up an onion, just thinly sliced little shards is fine. Sugar, white vinegar, mustard seed, turmeric, celery seed, and salt. That's it. That's all you need. So we have a microwave safe bowl here, nice little Pyrex, and then you're just gonna add everything in. And there will be a recipe attached to this. So we're gonna add in our cucumbers and our onions to the bowl. Maybe I needed a bigger bowl, but this will work. So, got all that in, and then we are going to add a cup of sugar. Nope, 3 cups of sugar. Sorry about that. It's 3 cups of sugar and a half a cup of white vinegar. We'll just pour that over there. Okay, so then, let me see. And this recipe came from Mr. Food. Funny story. When my dad first retired, he was really into recipes and cooking. We're not sure what happened now. It's been about 10 years. But he would find all these recipes and try them out. And one of them he found was microwave pickles. And we've loved them ever since. So we're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed. These are just whole celery seeds. A 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed. Make sure I get the right ones. If I can get it open. 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed. And then we need some salt. All pickles need salt. And these get a teaspoon of salt. We are using canning and pickling salt. You don't specifically have to for this recipe. You can use regular salt, but pickles are generally better if you use canning and pickling salt. You can buy this at any grocery store. Unfortunately, it comes in this giant thing. My local grocery store did not have a small container of it, so this may last you years. Okay, so once you got everything in here, we're just gonna give it a stir so we get those spices and the vinegar and the sugar all mixed in. I obviously did need a bigger bowl, but you will see as all things that get microwaved, it's gonna shrink down a bit, and it will fit in this bowl afterwards. So you're just going to get that all stirred up. Make sure none of your cucumbers are kind of sticking together, because you want the vinegar stuff to get in between all of them. So let's sure. And yes, I did wash my hands very thoroughly before I started this. But, okay, so that is all stirred up. Then we are going to microwave this on 80% power for 5 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 2.5 because we want to stir it in between. So we're going to microwave 80% power, 5 minutes, stir in the middle, and we'll be right back with that. Okay, so our 5 minutes are up. Our pickles have microwaved, and they're a little hot, so we don't want to eat these right away. I know I said it was very quick pickles, and it is. They just need to chill. So about 2 hours in the refrigerator, cover them up with a saran wrap or a lid or something like that, and then let them chill for 2 hours. And they're beautiful. You can see that turmeric is turning the juice yellow, and everything kind of shrunk down so it fits in the bowl really well. So we're gonna let those sit in the fridge. Now, I do happen to have a few left over from the batch I made a few days ago. So these are what these are gonna look like in a couple days. So they look more like pickles. These still kind of look like cucumbers, but these look like pickles. And they are delicious bread and butter pickles. Nice and crispy, sweet with all that sugar. It's delicious. Love them. These will last in your refrigerator for weeks. You can even water bath can them if you want to. If you're making multiple batches and you don't want to keep them in your fridge, or you don't think you're going to eat them right away. But they're great. You will, if you enjoy bread and butter pickles, you will enjoy these microwave bread and butter pickles. All right, do you like dill pickles? Dill pickles are actually my favorite kind of pickles. And we used to have these all the time, homemade ones, when I was a kid. And somehow along the way, they started turning mushy, and our canned dill pickles were gross, and we stopped. But then I found a refrigerator dill pickle recipe that, I'm not gonna lie, blew my mind. I loved them. I ate an entire jar in like a couple days. They're delicious. They're nice and crisp. They're fresh tasting. You can taste the dill and the vinegar, and love them. So that's what we're gonna make today. Now, I've tried out 2 different recipes, very similar. They all have the same ingredients. It's cucumbers, dill, vinegar, sugar, salt, mustard seed, and peppercorns with a little garlic. You need your garlic too. So everything has the same recipe, or the same ingredients. But I tried 2 different methods of making them. One has you just put your dill and your pickles in a jar and pour the vinegar, water, sugar, spices over top of it. So you've heated that up and you pour it over. The other one has you put your pickles and dill in the jar and your spices. So all your spices would go in here too. And then you just heat up your vinegar and water and put that on top of it. So your spices don't get heated up. So the method we're gonna try is the heated spices, vinegar, sugar, water method. Now, recipes attached to this video. Basically, you want to cut up your cucumbers, and you could do it either as spears or as rounds. So I'm gonna do one of each. So I'm doing a half pint or a pint jar, and I cut up my cucumbers into spears. So basically this was one big long cucumber, and I cut it in half and cut it up, and then fit it into the jar with your dill. And you make sure there's enough space in there so that all your spices and your liquid will go down in between your cucumbers. Now, you can use the tops of your dill and the little fronds of your dill. I used a mixture of both. I think that works really great. So if you have fresh dill out in your garden, that's the perfect kind. Oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of dill. The other one I did was rounds. So I cut up a cucumber into rounds, and you just shove your rounds with your dill into the jar. You want to make sure you're not stacking them so the liquid and the spices will go in between them. I kind of shove the dill in between some of the slices so that it's mixed in. You want to make sure your jar is not too full because You want your liquid to cover all of your cucumbers. Okay, so I have my pint jars, and I'm using wide mouth jars because they're just easier to stuff pickles in them. You can use regular mouth if you want to, but you need really small hands to get in there and mitts of hands. So we're gonna stuff our pickles, or our cucumbers, they're not pickles yet, cucumbers into the jar. I'm gonna start with a sprig of dill. I'm gonna put that on the bottom, and then I'm gonna put my spears on top of it. So you just kind of work your spears in here, and if they don't all fit in there, that's okay. You can make another jar. You can eat the cucumbers. If you like cucumbers, you can eat them. Or if you don't like them, you can find someone else who does and make them eat them. That's what I do. Not a huge fan, like I said. Okay, so I don't think, this pickle was this cucumber was a little bigger, so I don't think the whole thing's gonna fit in there. But I'm gonna shove some dill down in between there. Maybe a couple sprigs. Let's shove this one in there too. And we're just gonna get that into the jar so that when we put our vinegar mixture on it, we get all kinds of dilly goodness in there. Okay, so that is the spear one. And then we're gonna do the same thing for the slices. We're gonna start with our dill in the bottom, and then you're just going to, as my mom said, you could just shove them in there. Or you can kind of do them around. You just don't want them to go in as a stack like this, because then nothing's gonna get through there. So you want them to kind of be separated a little bit, so maybe fan them out in your jar, and but make sure you pack the jar nice and tight, because you don't want a lot of empty air. That's just a waste of pickle juice. You want all your pickles that you can get. So we're just gonna shove as many as we can down in there without turning them into mush, hopefully. And then, you know, put some dill in between your layers so that your layers of dill will percolate and get all kinds of vinegary goodness in there as well. But make sure there's space in between your cucumbers, because you don't want cucumbers to sit on each other and then not be able to get the vinegar and stuff between them. So almost got them all in here. Let's see if we can get this whole thing in here. Just shove them in pretty good. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I don't have too many air pockets in there. So there's those two jars. I might have been able to get one more spear in there, but I'll just make my dad eat it. He'll like it. And then we're going to heat up our mixture and pour that over there, and then we'll have pickles. The recipe calls for me to boil equal parts water and vinegar, which for 1 pint, it's a ½ cup of water, ½ cup of vinegar, with some cloves of garlic, your peppercorns, your mustard seed, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt. So if you can see, that's got all those lovely spices in it. They came to a boil, and then we needed it to cool down just a little bit. We didn't want it boiling. And then we're going to put this into our jars here. So I'm going to use a ladle to put the liquid onto my jars here. Let's see how hard this is. So right now I'm just taking mostly liquid. I'm trying not to get too much of the spices so I can more evenly distribute that at a later date. Though I did get a garlic in that one. Okay. All right, so then I want to put the spices in here evenly. I'm gonna try to get the garlic to go down in the jar. Have you ever eaten the pickled garlic out of dill pickles? When I was a kid, it was one of my favorite things, to get to the bottom of the pickle jar and have the garlic there. I don't know what it was about whole garlic cloves, because truthfully, I would not eat a whole garlic clove just, you know, regularly right now. It seems weird to do that, but man, did I love the pickled garlic as a kid. Okay, so we're just going to top this jar off. And you will see we have our pickles covered in our vinegar mixture here. And they are ready to go in the refrigerator. So we're going to put lids on them. And we're going to put the date on these as well, so we know what date we started them. And really 48 hours is probably the minimum. So these are not as quick as the refrigerator or the microwave pickles. 48 hours, probably the minimum on when you want to eat these, because you want all that pickly goodness to soak into those cucumbers. You want the spices and the vinegar and everything to turn. Cucumbers, which are nasty on their own, in my opinion. I just really don't like them, but I adore pickles. So you want these icky cucumbers to become delicious pickles. So we're going to put these in the refrigerator with their date on them, and we're going to come back to them in a few days and see what they are. In fact, I made a batch last week. I made 2 different kinds. So let's see what these 2 are. So last week on the 13th, I made some spears and some rounds. And so they've been sitting in the refrigerator for a week. And now they look a lot more like a pickle. So you can see the vinegar and the dill and everything has turned this into a pickle instead of a cucumber. Let's see what it tastes like. It's crunchy. It's dilly. It's very vinegary. I love it. Love it. And then we also have spears. So nice spear. If you're having a sandwich, you know you need a dill spear. Again, don't pack your jar too full. You want the stuff to be able to go around them. But they're delicious. Thank you for joining me for DIY homesteading homemade pickles. I hope you enjoyed learning how to turn cucumbers into delicious pickles. I enjoyed making these, and I know I'm going to enjoy eating them as well. Not these. If you have any questions or suggestions for other topics we should cover in DIY homesteading, please feel free to contact us. You can find out more information about our programs on our website. And I hope you join us again next time for more DIY homesteading at Missouri River Regional Library.